Warning: the next 7 days could determine whether your pantry stays full or dangerously empty. According to multiple reports, supply chains are tightening, and signs of panic buying are already being observed in some areas. That means key survival. Grocery items might start disappearing faster than expected. If you wait until May 10th, it could be too late. In this video, we're sharing 8 essential grocery items you may want to secure now, before shelves start running dry. Your food preparedness could depend on it. Welcome back, your trusted source for staying one step ahead in uncertain times. Today's video carries urgency. Based on emerging data from supply chain analysts, economic trends, and recent weather forecasts, we've identified 8 critical survival grocery products that may soon face shortages. These aren't luxuries, they're everyday staples your home depends on. Every product we highlight today is supported by current market signals, and we'll also share practical stocking tips to help you prepare wisely. Let's dive in and help you stay ready, no matter what's coming. Number 1, portable cooking stoves. Let's wrap this up with something most people don't think about until it's already too late. How are you actually going to cook all that food you've been storing? Sure, you've got beans, rice, canned goods, maybe even some flour and oil. But here's the cold reality. If the power goes out or your gas supply gets interrupted, your kitchen becomes useless. And suddenly you're standing there with all the right food and no way to heat it. That's where a portable butane or alcohol stove comes in. These little devices are absolute game changers. They're small, lightweight, and incredibly efficient. A single canister of butane can cook multiple meals. No power? No problem. All you need is a match or lighter and you're back in business. Since February 2025, sales of portable cooking stoves have jumped nearly 40% according to major outdoor retailers like REI and Bass Pro Shops. And it's not just campers and hikers buying them anymore. Families, preppers, and everyday folks are waking up to the reality that the grid isn't guaranteed. And here's something else. When disasters hit, hurricanes, blackouts, supply chain chaos, these stoves are the first things to sell out. We saw it in 2020. We're seeing signs of it again now. Your move? Get one. Better yet, get 2. 1. For backup, go for a dual-burner butane stove if you're feeding a family. If space is tight, an alcohol stove is even smaller and doesn't rely on pressurized gas. Just make sure to grab enough fuel to last at least a few weeks. Stock extra canisters or bottles and store them safely. And don't forget a lightweight pot or pan set that actually fits your stove. It sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people get one and realize too late their kitchen pans are too big or unstable. Here's the truth. Survival isn't just about having food. It's about being able to use it. A portable stove means hot meals, safe food, and a little comfort when everything else feels uncertain. If there's one piece of gear that turns a storage closet into a survival plan, this is it. Number 2. Manual can openers. You've stocked up on canned beans, vegetables, fruit, soups. Nice work. But let me ask you something nobody ever brings up. How are you going to open all of it? No, seriously. We live in a world so used to electric, everything that most people don't even know if they own a manual can opener. And if they do, it's that dull one at the bottom of the junk drawer that barely works. Here's the brutal truth. Your entire stockpile of canned food is useless if you can't open it. In a power outage or emergency situation, that fancy electric can opener? Dead weight. And trying to open cans with a knife or screwdriver? Dangerous. You'll end up injured, or worse, contaminated food from jagged edges or punctured liners. And here's what's happening. Sales of manual can openers have quietly jumped 26% since February 2025, according to HomeGoods and Walmart inventory reports. Why? Because more people are prepping again and learning the hard way that the little things matter most. Here's what you should do. Get 2 good quality manual can openers. Not the dollar store kind, the real ones with sturdy handles and smooth turn gears. One for daily use, one as a backup. Test them before storing them. Keep them near your canned goods or inside your emergency kit. Want to go a step further? Look for military-style P38 or P51 openers. Tiny, tough, and they fit on a keychain or in a bug-out bag. This isn't overthinking, it's practical. Because when your power's out, it's day 3 and everyone's hungry. Being able to open a can of chili without slicing your hand open suddenly feels like the smartest decision you ever made. Sometimes survival doesn't come down to what you have, but whether you can actually use it. Don't let a missing $5 tool be what stands between you and your next meal. Number 3, plain salt. Here's something wild. You could have an entire pantry stocked with food and still be missing one of the most essential ingredients for survival, plain old salt. It sounds too basic, right? But salt is one of the most underrated survival items you can store. Not just for flavor, but for preservation, hydration, sanitation, and even emergency first aid. Let's break it down. First, flavor. Obviously. Without salt, food tastes flat. Beans? Bland? Rice? Boring. You'll feel it after just a few days. But beyond taste, salt helps your body retain water, absolutely critical when you're rationing clean drinking supplies. Second, it's a natural preservative. In the absence of refrigeration, salt can be used to cure meats, pickle vegetables, and extend the life of food. If you ever find yourself needing to stretch resources, this matters. Third, salt plays a role in basic hygiene and first aid. Saltwater rinses can clean wounds. Gargling salt water helps with sore throats. And in a pinch, it can even be used to scrub or clean surfaces. Now here's the issue. Global salt demand is up 12% since January 2025, particularly in bulk food production and chemical industries. That's putting pressure on supplies in consumer markets. And with shipping costs still unstable, heavy goods like salt are getting quietly reprioritized by freight companies. Your move? Don't wait. Salt is cheap, dirt cheap, but if it disappears, no amount of money will help. Grab a few large containers of iodized salt, rock salt, or even sea salt. Store it in a dry place and you're set for years. It doesn't expire. It doesn't go bad, and you're going to need it for way more than just seasoning fries. In survival, it's often the simplest things that matter most. Salt is one of them. Number 4, yeast and baking essentials. Let's talk about something that quietly disappeared from shelves in 2020 and might be headed that way again. Yeast. Yeah, yeast. Not exactly headline material, right? But when you're stuck eating shelf-stable basics and suddenly want something warm, fresh, and actually comforting, bread becomes a big deal. And without yeast, you're stuck. Here's what most people don't realize. Yeast isn't just for fancy bakers. It's a survival ingredient. With just flour, water, and yeast, you can make simple flatbreads, rolls, even pizza dough. Add a few basic pantry items: salt, sugar, oil, and now you've got real food. Warm, filling, morale-boosting food. As of April 2025, demand for dry yeast and baking soda has risen 19%, according to supply chain reports from IRI. Supermarkets are quietly rationing yeast in some regions again. It's not panic buying yet, but the signs are there. The problem? Yeast production takes time. It's not easily scaled, and once it's gone for a while. Your move? Stock up now on a few jars or packets of dry active or instant yeast. It lasts over a year unopened, longer if stored in the fridge or freezer. Also grab baking powder, baking soda, and shelf-stable powdered eggs if you can find them. Don't forget salt and sugar. Basic, yes, but vital in almost every homemade, baked good. And if you really want to go to the next level, get a few pounds of all-purpose or bread flour while you're at it. You don't need to be a master baker, just someone who doesn't want to eat plain rice forever. Because trust me, when the days get long and meals get dull, the smell of something baking in the oven, that's survival gold. Number 5, bouillon cubes and soup base. Here's one most people completely forget until they desperately need it. Bouillon cubes or powdered soup base. Sounds boring, right? But in a crisis, this stuff is magic. Think about it. You've got rice, beans, canned veggies. Okay, now what? Everything's bland, repetitive. Low morale sets in fast. That's where bouillon comes in. Just one cube turns boiling water into a hot, flavorful broth. Suddenly, plain rice feels like a meal. Leftover. Canned vegetables? Now it's soup. And here's the kicker. It's shelf-stable for years. No refrigeration, no fancy storage needed. Just toss a few boxes in your pantry and forget about it until you really need it. Now let's talk about availability. As of April 2025, demand for shelf-stable flavor bases has risen 22% compared to the previous year, according to retail data. Why? Because smart shoppers are realizing this is one of the cheapest ways to make survival food bearable. But with rising salt and spice prices, globally, manufacturers are scaling back production, and prices are climbing. And don't just go for chicken or beef cubes. Look for vegetable bouillon, miso base, or even powdered bone broth. These not only add flavor, they boost nutrients, electrolytes, and in some cases, even protein. This isn't just about comfort, it's strategy. A warm, flavorful meal does more than fill your stomach. It lifts your mood, keeps kids happy, and makes rationing easier. So to future you a favor, add bouillon to your survival stash. It's small, cheap, and when the time comes, it'll feel gourmet. Number 6, cooking oil. Let's be honest, cooking oil isn't the first thing people think of when prepping, but it absolutely should be. It's in everything. You need it to fry, sauté, bake, and even stretch meals with added calories. But here's the kicker. Cooking oil is about to become a serious problem. As of April 2025, global vegetable oil prices are up 28% year over year, according to the FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization. Why? 2 big reasons: climate disruptions, and international trade limits. Droughts in Argentina and Malaysia have hammered soybean and palm oil crops, while export restrictions in Indonesia, the world's largest palm oil exporter, are choking supply even further. That's trickling down fast. U.S. supermarkets are already seeing rising prices for canola, sunflower, and even basic vegetable oils. Wholesale bulk suppliers have reported shipment delays and limited quantities. Translation: if you're not buying now, you're going to be paying more or finding less very soon. Here's something else to think about. Cooking oil has a surprisingly short shelf life, typically 12 to 18 months, so it's not just about hoarding gallons. It's about smart rotation and variety. Don't just grab the giant jug of one kind. Diversify. Pick up smaller bottles of olive oil, avocado oil, and even coconut oil if you can. Each has different uses, flavors, and shelf lives. Also, store them right. Keep oils in a cool, dark place, away from your stove or sunny counters. Heat and light break them down faster than you'd think. Most people only realize how essential oil is after it's gone. Imagine trying to cook rice, beans, or canned veggies without it. Meals get bland, nutrition drops, and morale tanks fast. So here's the bottom line. Cooking oil is one of the quiet essentials that holds your kitchen together. Grab it now, before that $3 bottle turns into a $6 problem or disappears entirely. Number 7, rice. Let's talk about rice, the humble grain that quietly feeds half the world. You probably have a bag or two in your pantry, but here's the hard truth. It's not nearly enough. As of April 2025, global rice prices are up 20% since the start of the year. Why? Because major rice exporting countries like India and Thailand have cut back exports to protect their own supplies. And with El Niño disrupting harvests across Asia, things are only getting worse. That might sound like a problem over there, but you'll feel it right here at home. U.S. wholesalers are already tightening contracts, and retailers are receiving smaller shipments than usual. Some warehouse clubs have started limiting rice purchases to 2 bags per customer. This isn't just about price, it's about availability. Now here's where it gets real. Rice isn't just a side dish, it's a survival staple. It's cheap, calorie-dense, and stores incredibly well. When the economy wobbles or supply chains break down, rice becomes the fallback meal for millions. That's why shelves are thinning fast. Don't wait until you're staring at a "sorry, out of stock" sign. Start building your supply now. Here's your move. Grab 20 to 30 pounds of long-grain white rice or jasmine rice, whichever you prefer. Avoid instant varieties. They don't last as long. Store it in food-grade buckets or airtight Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers. Done right, it'll last up to 25 years. Pro tip, rotate your stock every few years and use it regularly so it's always fresh. Bottom line, rice is vanishing for a reason. If you want stability in uncertain times, this grain needs to be front and center in your pantry before it's gone. Number 8, canned beans. When it comes to survival food, canned beans are a powerhouse, packed with protein, fiber, and long shelf life. But they're also vanishing fast. As of April 2025, canned bean sales have surged by 35% compared to the same time last year, according to retail tracking firm Nielsen IQ. This spike isn't random. It's a direct response to economic instability and rising food insecurity. Consumers are leaning heavily on canned beans because they're affordable, shelf-stable, and extremely versatile. Whether you're making chili, stews, or just adding a quick protein boost to your meals, they deliver. But here's the catch. Manufacturers are struggling to keep up. Between aluminum can shortages and increased demand, supply chains are stretched thin. Retailers like Walmart and Kroger are already reporting lower stock levels for black beans, kidney beans, and chickpeas. And it's not just supply, it's cost. The U.S. Department of Agriculture noted a 12% increase in canned legume prices since February 2025, driven by inflation and higher transport costs. That means waiting even a few weeks could mean paying more or finding empty shelves altogether. Your action plan? Stock up now. Prioritize a mix of varieties: black beans, pinto, kidney, navy, and even lentils in cans. Opt for low-sodium versions to maintain health standards and store them in a cool, dry place. The average canned bean lasts up to 5 years unopened, making it a safe, smart investment for long-term food security. Don't underestimate this quiet essential. It's the backbone of a stable pantry. Let's do a rapid-fire recap of the 8 survival grocery products you need to secure before May 10th, 2025. Canned beans. affordable, protein-packed, and disappearing fast. Rice, the world's staple grain, is facing global export cuts. Cooking, oil, prices are spiking, and supply chains are under strain. Bouillon and soup base, instant flavor and morale in a survival pantry. Yeast and baking essentials. Don't let your flour go to waste. Plain salt, it's not just seasoning, it's preservation and hydration. Manual can openers. No electricity? No problem, if you're prepared. Portable cooking stoves. Hot food, anywhere, anytime. No grid required. These aren't luxury items. They're lifelines. If you wait until shelves are empty, you're reacting too late. Be proactive. Take inventory today. Start picking up what you're missing, bit by bit, if you have to. Because the goal isn't panic, it's preparation. And if this video helped you see the road ahead a little clearer, do us a favor. Like the video, subscribe for weekly survival insights, and share this with someone who still thinks everything will just be fine. Because being prepared isn't about fear, it's about peace of mind. Stay sharp, stay ready, and as always, stay one step ahead.